Welcome back to the Rory Talks Football channel, your daily Arsenal news, updates, my opinions and reactions. If you're new here, please do subscribe. We're trying to get to 2,500 subscribers. I massively appreciate the support on the videos recently. Just so much to talk about this summer with all of the transfer gossip. And today, I want to talk about Moises Caicedo and the potential of bringing in both Rice and Caicedo. Is it possible financially, logistically? What would it mean for the squad? And I think it's really interesting. So the first thing is, can it be done financially? And the answer to that is yes, for a number of reasons. First of all, we have a lot of money to spend. If you take the conservative number from David Ornstein, that was 180 million plus transfers, then between, that was an awful voice crack, between Rice and Caicedo, you've got 180 million, roughly speaking. So you could do it even at that conservative level, and then you can spend the money you generate from your sales on the other positions that we need to buy players for, which, as we've discussed before, the targets we've been looking at are a bit cheaper. So, for example, you sell Tierney and you buy another right back at the same sort of value. So, financially, in that sense, it is doable, especially when you consider how much Caicedo might actually be going for, and it's not as much as people might have thought. You know, the number at 100 million was being thrown around. According to Fabrizio Romano, Brighton would be willing to accept between 70 and 80 million, and there were also rumours and reports that Caicedo effectively had a gentleman's agreement with Brighton when he signed that new contract at the end of January, that if the right offer came in the summer, or a reasonable offer came in the summer that was in that 70 to 80 million ballpark, they would let him go if it was for a club that he wanted to go to. Which could, again, play into Arsenal's hands, because we know that Chelsea are interested in him. But, again, the rumours are that he would much rather go to Arsenal than Chelsea, and it's understandable why, right? He can walk straight into a Champions League team, a young team. He walks into the starting lineup, and Chelsea is a mess. So, if Arsenal bid the right amount, I think it's definitely a deal that we can get done, and it will be frustrating if we don't get it done. Now, according to Gary Jacob, who writes for The Times, Arsenal are preparing to go in again for him. And look, we bid 70 million for him in January. So I really don't see the reason that we wouldn't be going back in for him this summer. And, I mean, it would be a huge chunk of our budget. To spend on two midfielders, it would be a huge chunk of our budget, but it would be our midfield set for the next decade. Like, it genuinely would. Maybe slightly less with Declan Rice, but overall, you're set up for a long time. And when you look at the positions around the pitch that we're also set up for a long time, Saka off the right, Martinelli off the left, over the next couple of years, we don't need to spend huge amounts on lots of different positions. So I definitely think it's worth going for. Now, in terms of whether he fits into, of course he fits into the Arsenal team, where he fits in terms of what we could do, I genuinely think you end up just starting Caicedo and Declan Rice, and Partey maybe drops out of the team. Is there a way that you can fit all three of them into the team? Possibly, but I'm not sure who drops out, because maybe you have it where Caicedo plays at right back, which we saw him do for Brighton when we played them towards the end of the season. He was very good there. Obviously, he's very good at inverting into the midfield from that position, because naturally he is a midfielder. But then you lose Ben White, and I wonder if you can do Caicedo and Zinchenko in the same game. But again, Zinchenko is so injury prone that I feel we could actually see what we saw against Wolves in terms of the way that we line up, where you have Kivior left back, Gabriel and Saliba, ideally, as the centre-backs, or Ben White, and then Caicedo as the right-back. And then you have Partey and Rice in the midfield, and ultimately you have all three of them. The alternatives are that Partey goes, and if that's the case, then we're in a tricky position to sell him, because obviously with everything that's going on off the field, and those investigations still ongoing, you're not going to get what you want for him in the same way that Tottenham got Basuma on a discount because he was undergoing similar investigations at the time. So it's difficult. It is difficult to know what the solution would be if we kept Thomas Partey, because Thomas Partey feels like a player that's too good to be on the bench. We've also heard reports that Jorginho is leaving. It's expected that Jorginho will leave this summer. Now, I actually said when he joined, it wouldn't surprise me if he left in the summer. We signed him on an 18-month deal, but I said at the time it wouldn't surprise me if we played him for 6 months, because we really just needed depth quite desperately at the time. and that we then sell him in the summer back to Italy, which is where he wants to go, for a similar amount for what we bought him for, and it doesn't really cost us anything to bring him in. And there are now reports saying that he may well be heading off to Lazio this summer. Well, that leaves us in a position where we really do not have a lot of depth in the midfield at all. We hopefully have Declan Rice. We have Thomas Partey. With Xhaka and Jorginho gone, then you've got El Neni and Sambi Lokonga, but El Neni will end up leaving, if not this summer, then next summer. And really, as much as I love him, isn't at the level to compete in any game. There is no game where I'd be like, okay, it's fine, we can bring in El Neni, no offence to him. And Sambi Lokonga is probably going to go to Burnley. So even if we brought in Caicedo and Rice, I still then think you probably need one more midfielder on top of that to replace Jorginho. So I'm certain that Declan Rice is coming. I don't want to get too confident that we get Caicedo, but I am beginning to buy into the Caicedo dream again, which I'd kind of given up on. You know, when Chelsea lost out on Ugarte, and you know everything was saying that they were targeting Caicedo at that point, I thought maybe we're not going to get it done, but look, if we can get Rice done in the next couple of days, 3-4 days, I really see no reason that we can't go and get Caicedo. And then, like I said, we can use the rest of the budget on other positions. Again, according to Gary Jacob, we want another attacking player, a centre-back and a full-back. So whether we can stretch the budget that far, I guess it would depend how much you end up spending on Rice and or Caicedo. But look, 100%, we can fit him in. I think, personally, Caicedo plays as the 6 and Rice plays as the 8 if we're playing in the same style and system that we played in this season. But I was interested by what Arteta did in the last couple of games, especially against Wolves, and I feel like that opens up quite a few different alternative options. But 100%, if you have Rice and Caicedo start, and that is a giant upgrade on our current midfield. I pray it happens. We shall see. If you enjoyed the video, please do smash a like. Subscribe if you're new. And I will catch you all tomorrow.